stability case of PE and nickel-based thin film cathodes. These results seem to be in agreement with a theoretical approach suggesting that energetic particles could be created by coherent oscillations of the Fermi level belt. Material balance led to study the isotopic composition of some of the marker elements. Isotopic shift has been observed for silver, zinc, an enhancement of the ratios of silver 109 to silver 107 and zinc 64 to zinc 6 with nickel thin film. The Avada double structure electrode results confirm the isotopic shift in the ratio of helium 3 to 4. It may be ascribed to tritium production inside a plated vessel. Results seem to confirm the observations concerning the occurrence of the reaction result. Differ from all other reactions.
So they're just seeing these X-rays after they've done this electrolysis?
I think so.
Okay. They haven't like irradiated.
I think so. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but I think so, yes.
In their previous work, they claim to have seen X-rays during the electrolysis.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think in this case, this was done differently. I'm not, I think so.
I mean, they're going to have to get right up on top of that film to see any 2 kilovolt X-rays.
I think we need to email Vittorio and ask him what the heck he did.
Yeah, no, honestly, yeah. I mean, you just tell him, I didn't know the answer to that. I mean, he's the expert, yeah.
If you look at the transparency you have now,
Which one?
the last one.
The conclusions?
You were saying it was producing low energy X-rays 2 to 10 kilo electron volts out there. Yeah. Is that consistent with a collective de-excitation of electrons, or is it consistent with the formation of helium?
This would be more like a core level kind of effect.
No, it's just an observation, right?
Yeah, I mean,
You don't know anything about it.
If you have
we don't know why it's there.
any energy,
It could be a charged particle slowing down.
Right, we'll do that.
And but I mean, you could have a cooperative thing that could do that. You could have single particles that could do that. But it's much more energetic than a normal, EV kind of process.
But what would be the wavelengths or energies of the radiation associated with the formation of helium-3 from hydrogen?
From what?
This is after the meeting. Peter Hackelstein or Hackelstein? I just know that she Hagelstein. I'm used to just Peter. PA. That's what it's And this is Dr. Talbot Chubb, retired from NRL. And this is Dr. Ben Bush. He has a lab, I think, here in Austin, Texas, somewhere. And this is Dennis. Dennis Provost, who's with the Houston, Mexico University. He gave a speech as well. Or Mel calls it a talk, I guess. There's the back of Dr. Scott Chubb in NRL, Dr. Melvin H. Miles, Bates College at the moment. The lady is from Routers News Association, news pages. I don't know what that means. Routers, and then with Storm, Dr. S. Storm, Colorado, I think, and Dr. George Miley, the gray suit, from Champaign, Illinois, and Dr. Andre Dixon from Russia, who's here working with Dr. George Miley. And I guess that's good enough. For now, anyway.
I'd like like to introduce myself. My name is Roger Stringham, and I will be presenting a paper on cavitation fusion, and which goal is to ultimately harvest energy from the transient cavitation bubble collapse process. This first figure represents two cases of cavitation bubbles. One is called the stable cavitation bubble system, the other a transient cavitation bubble system. The figure above shows the sinusoidal wave of the acoustic field and the change of the radius of the bubble with time. And these are coupled together in such a way that just as we cross the node into the high pressure zone of the acoustic wave, there is an adiabatic collapse which is in the time frame of a microsecond. And the collapse process is adiabatic, where no energy is lost in the collapse process. It bounces for a few times, losing energy that is picked up, and eventually comes back to the initial size of the bubble, and then goes through the process again. And this process right here can repeat itself perhaps 1 million times before it destroys itself. The growth is isothermal, coming up to the adiabatic collapse, and during that isothermal growth it picks up energy. You have the maximum radius and the maximum energy in the bubble collapse. The transient cavitation bubble system is very similar, except you see that the wave, the acoustic wave or the acoustic field, is much more intense, and so you have more energy and you have a more rapid collapse process, and probably more energy density in these kinds of systems. This is figure number 3, and it's basically a timeline for this entire process. It's a summary of all the work that we've done. It's not it's not completely together, but if you follow the track, I think it does make sense. We have the acoustic energy here, which following a log of the acoustic input here, which follows the log of the collapse time in seconds, and we have here the log of the radius in meters. And as time progresses, we go first, this would be the actual initial bubble radius, and it grows up to a point here to R0, which would be just at this point right here, and the collapse process begins here, the adiabatic or pseudo-adiabatic collapse process. And we go to step 3, which becomes a point at which it's well into the process. The bubble has lost a lot of its volume, but it's gained a tremendous amount of energy density. At this point, the bubble actually forms a jet and turns itself inside out, and with the contents of the bubble going into the jet. And at this point, there is dissociation of the contents of the bubble, which include D2O, which will give you the deuterons, and this becomes a deuteron accelerator. In step 5, we have the actual implantation of the jet into a target lattice. The electrons going in deeper, and the deuterons being closer to the surface. Now, before there is a diffusion, we have enough density, temperature, and other environmental conditions so that there is a potential for a fusion process. This fusion event, which produces helium, which has been measured at the Los Alamos National Laboratory, or in conjunction with the National Laboratory by the DOE, produces a heat pulse, and this heat pulse within the target works its way up rapidly up to the surface, and at that point it erupts like a volcano, spewing out ejecta, which are then frozen in the target and can be monitored later by SEM photography. Here we have figure 9, and it's a continuation of figure 8, and it shows the palladium foil, the target foil, and it shows the surface and how it's pockmarked with these vent sites over the surface. Another count was made for 1 square centimeter, and it fell right into the same distribution that we saw in the earlier figure. We look at the number of vent sites, and we look at the vent sites in the diameter, and we see that the maximum is somewhere around 75 to 100 nanometers. We also looked for what we might expect from the implantation of a jet from one of the transient cavitation bubbles, and this is the value that we found this is the area we should look for, and we found basically no signs on the surface of an implant character from the implanting jet. This is just a hole we found, or a vent site we found in the palladium that's a little bit larger, a more unusual event. It's found in the bottom of this crater. This is 5 microns across, and it's quite deep, and within the center we find a vent or an irregular shape. Okay, figure 10 are helium and tritium measurements from gases removed from over various reactions. These particular systems or reactions were done at Los Alamos in New Mexico, and the analysis was done by the DOE in Canoga Park and by Rocketdyne, by Brian Oliver, which this is his business, measuring various helium concentrations. Sample 4.1 shows a little bit of helium. This helium is due to the contamination of the argon that was used in the pressurization of the reactors, and it should be present in all measurements that use that particular tank of argon. 4.2 looks for helium-3 and helium. It found a little bit of helium, but the primary constituent was helium-3, and it was measured over a 6 months period, and it indicated a growth in the helium-3 over time, which can be related to a disintegration constant for tritium, and we feel that tritium is the source of this helium-3 as it continues to grow. We have in 4.3 a palladium foil, which gave us a very high count of helium-4, 100 times that you find in air, and we feel that that's that's conclusive evidence of a fusion of deuterium in this particular experiment. Here we have figure 12, and what this figure demonstrates is a rate of reaction, a fusion reaction, for the implantation process of a cavitation bubble. We have to make certain assumptions about the contact time, 10 to the minus 12 seconds, and the volume, which is 10 to the minus 18 cc's, assuming a velocity of 10 to the 6 centimeters per second, and a fusion cross-section of 10 to the minus 26th. If we use those assumptions and we look at the plot of the number of fusion events per jet implant versus the density of the deuterons in the ion traps in the target foil, which would be only, it's very transient in the number, in the range of picoseconds. If we look at that and we get to a point of 10 to the 25th deuterons per cc, we see that we have one event per jet. I want to thank you for your attention, and we are going to leave beautiful Kauai, and any questions can be addressed to Scott Chubb.
Classe.